Train strikes. For the majority of us in the UK, they kind of suck. Whether you're trying to head off somewhere far or just trying to get to work, hearing that breaking news bulletin informing the general public that there will be upcoming train strikes just make things overly difficult. We have no money right now. Cost of living crisis in the UK is no joke, and as such, our public transport network is essential to allow us to earn an honest coin. Here at Run Wonders Off, I wanted to delve a bit deeper into this issue, one that has affected me personally. I've not been comfortable with booking train trips in advance, as there might have been a high chance it would have either gotten cancelled or I would have to have made costly changes last minute. In this video, I'll be breaking down why is there a standoff between the train drivers, rail staff and the government. How much has this been impacted towards us, and what is the outlook for 2023? At the end of the video, I will share some tips on how to get your ticket refunded if you have been inconvenienced. So if you are planning a trip to the UK this year, or you have a train trip coming up, then you might want to stay till the end of this video. Alright, so let's chop it up. Let's go right back to early 2022, when I realised that my cheeky little cheap train tickets were not so cheeky cheap, as train strikes were coming in thick and fast. Train strikes are not uncommon for us UK folk. Since I was a kid, I used to hear on the news about London Underground regularly taking strike action. Shout out Bob Crow. Rendering most of inner London transport unusable, due to various reasons. Then, as I moved out of London 15 years ago, I heard about strikes affecting national rail providers as well. The people up north was where it was getting affected the most. In 2022, we have experienced quite possibly the worst train strike since 1989. Things really kicked off in late June when members of the RMT, a massive fast-growing transport union covering rail, maritime and public transport in the UK, voted to go on strike as they had some issues that needed addressing. Some of the issues for this industrial action taking place included issues with wages not matching the ever-growing inflationary rate in the UK, reductions in the number of manned ticket offices, and even an increase in the age that people could claim young person's rail card and senior citizen card. I actually didn't know about that last part. My mum would not be happy with that. Now, my initial thought on this was that there needs to be a wider conversation on how a nation as big as the UK has this issue where our transport costs have increased in the last 10 years. Like, what? Data from RAC Foundation analysts highlights that from May 2011 to April 2021, bus and coach fares have gone up 75%, rail fares have gone up 37%, and motoring has gone up 9%. To put this into context, the cost of living has risen 28%. This is according to the RPI. The RMT union and the government were at loggerheads for some time. This disruption mainly affected transport routes in England, but did have a knock-on effect for services going across the border into Wales and Scotland. Northern Ireland said, "We're minding our own business," and moved on. RMT union members voted to strike after their demand for a 7% pay rise was rejected in favour of a 3% offer, and the initial 3 days of industrial action were scheduled for the 21st, 23rd and 25th of June respectively, and more was to come over the autumn and winter months. National Rail was planning to cut 1,900 jobs as part of the changes to the way its maintenance teams work. The RMT was not having any of that, and wanted a guarantee of no compulsory job losses. The Office for National Statistics, the ONS, estimates the average salary of rail workers in 2022 is £45,919, based on 5 different job categories. If drivers are excluded, its estimate stands at £39,518. The disruption over the summer was bad, don't get me wrong. It didn't help when the media was calling it the summer of discontent, as other unions in other sectors started to gain momentum, and they were also asking for change. As most businesses were in the process of transitioning their teams back into the office after the pandemic, employees across the UK was faced with a decision: attempt their commutes into work with the possibility of severe delays along the way, or just kick it home and not have to deal with the stress. Some workers who had no choice but to commute to their place of work were also having to deal with the highest rate of fuel prices, where fuel had risen a whopping 48% in its peak in July versus the previous year. The summer of discontent saw numerous train strikes pretty much every other week of the summer, affecting everything from A-level examinations to the UEFA Women Euro semi-final, which has been held in Milton Keynes in July. Another transport union called ASLEF joined forces with the RMT to make their voice heard and had a strike on the 30th of July, which affected the start of the English Football League as well as the opening of the 2022 Commonwealth Games being held in Birmingham. If you looked at some of my fellow YouTubers who do trip reports during last summer, you would have noticed that not a lot of them did any within the UK. Simple reason for this is that we have to book our tickets in advance, sometimes as much as a month out. And if our trip plans need altering or we miss a connection, it can make the trip completely unviable. You know what I did? I stayed home and fixed cars. I'm sorry. Now, as I may have mentioned earlier, I'm not here to attack the unions for their actions. The government is clearly playing a game of who blinks first. There are many issues at play here as to the challenges our UK transport faces, which is too much to get into in this video. Drop a like and a sub and I might do a follow-up. What I will say though is that there is an element of stubbornness on both sides with neither willing to back down. On 21st of June, Prime Minister at the time, Boris Johnson, said that the UK should be prepared to stay the course because these reforms, these improvements in the way we run our railways are in the interest of the travelling public. When you look at the impact that the strikes have had on the UK last year, with increases in fuel prices, cost of living crisis, job layoffs in the latter part of the year, it is clear that times could be better. The train strikes have affected 15 rail companies. These include everybody from Avanti, Chiltern, East Midlands, down to London North Eastern, South Eastern, South Western Railway, TransPennine Express, West Midlands Trains, and a few more. So you can see that it's a UK-wide issue. No matter whether you're up north or down south, it's affecting everybody. At the time of researching for this video, according to the BBC News, almost 1 out of every 12 trains across Britain was cancelled in the 4 weeks prior to the 7th of January, and this actually excluded strike days. Avanti West Coast and Southern came out the worst, between 12% and 19% of their trains cancelled in these 4 weeks, where the GB average stood at around 8%. The services up north are the most effective, and these are where trains in particular are vital for people to get to work. The initial sympathy which may have been had for union members who are striking are now waning because simply people can't get to work. As of the 24th of January, rail workers have been given an improved fresh pay offer of 5%, up from a previous offer of 4%. The General RMT's Secretary, Mick Lynch, said the National Executive Committee will be considering this matter and has made no decision on the proposals nor any of the elements within them. Rail workers will be facing more disruptions over the coming months, with the next set of strikes being held on the 1st and 3rd of February. 15 rail companies will be affected by this, so it goes without saying, plan ahead people. More details how to do this later. With regards to the Run Wanders Off channel, my UK train travel has been severely hampered by these strikes since mid last year. It's okay though, as now restrictions have completely lifted, so I've got Europe to explore. When the unions and the governments figure their lives out, I'll rock up to my local Stevenage train station, hop on board and get travelling. I will have some content coming up on the Elizabeth line that opened up last summer, so definitely stay tuned for that. So, here's the challenge. The challenges we've faced is that when strike action goes ahead, we are made aware in advance of the disruption and in most cases have the opportunity to postpone our travel or seek alternative means. When strike action is cancelled or suspended at short notice by a union, whether that be ASLEF or RMT, train companies might not be able to bring back the normal timetables in time, so there still can be disruption even when nobody is striking. If your service was cancelled, delayed or rescheduled, you are entitled to the change or a refund from the original retailer of your ticket. An administration fee of no more than £10 will apply to ticket refunds where a service is not affected by industrial action. Alternatively, customers with a ticket for travel on a strike day can instead use their ticket on an alternative day. For example, if a ticket is dated Wednesday the 1st of February, you can use the ticket on the previous day, Tuesday the 31st of January, or and up to including the 7th of February, which is the following Tuesday. One thing which has impacted me out of all of this have been the suspension of advanced purchase tickets, as this is where my trips were greatly reduced in price because I was booking far in advance. But hopefully we can reach a satisfactory outcome for all parties soon. If you have purchased an advance ticket on a strike day, you can get a fee-free change up to 6 p.m. the day before you travel. I will include links in the description to the National Rail website where I got all of this information. Like I said in the video, I'm not one for taking sides. Have the train strikes impacted me? Absolutely. I've said it a few times in this video. Has the cost of living affected train drivers and rail employees? Again, absolutely. All parties concerned need to stop faffing around and make some headway, as both the unions and the governments are digging their heels in and nobody is winning. As always, I hope you found this video useful. A different pace from my normal videos. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How much has the train strikes since the summer affected you? Were you looking to travel by train, but now you're kind of thinking twice? How do you think we can get this mess all sorted out? Again, please like and subscribe to see more videos from One Wonders Off. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.